Well, it's interesting how things work out. This morning, I felt like going out, but I didn't know what I was going out for. I had no idea as to any reason to go out. So, but I just felt like going out. So I got all dressed up with my coat on, put my hat on and everything. And then I found myself taking a shopping bag. So, okay, maybe I'm going to buy something. And I went out for a walk. And the first thing I did was I walked past my friend Bob's window. Bob's window was open. He was having a smoke at the window, and we said good morning. And I was able to tell him about an interesting coat I saw in the shop that might interest him. And so this sort of put my head into the second-hand clothing charity shop zone. So I thought, well, maybe that's got something to do with it. Anyway, I wandered down into town, and when I got to the corner where the bus stop is, I looked around and there's quite a few people waiting for a bus. I had my shopping bag in my hand. I thought, the bus must be about to arrive. So, and also next to the bus stop there's a place where you can get books and things like that for free. And so I wandered down to the books, and there amongst the books was a whole load of Doctor Who books. Doctor Who, almost like a collection, old collection of Doctor Who that someone had thrown out. And so I picked my pick of them, which was the most general one, which is Doctor Who the Encyclopedia. And I put this in the bottom of my bag, and I left, left with this one. And it's interesting because, I'll tell you in a minute. So I have the Doctor Who book, and I thought, well, I'll go and sit down on the bench and wait for this bus, and perhaps I'll go and get a bunch of shopping in Hereford, you see. And so anyway, the bus came eventually, and got on the bus. My goodness, what a lot of people on the bus. And I went to Hereford, and I thought, well, I'll leave the supermarket shopping for last, but I'll go and have a wander around and see where my feet take me. So kind of wandered around. I did a few second-hand shops, and because my lady needs some nice winter tweed type English or cashmere clothes, this kind of thing, nice high quality stuff that often I can find for her in charity shops. So anyway, and I'd already sent them load that was the wrong size, so I was looking for larger stuff. So I couldn't find anything. It was just nothing. I went from one shop to the other, went all through the shops, and then I also went to one of these places where people, like pawn shops, where people take stuff in and sell it. And I wasn't led to anything particular in there, and wandering around and looked at a few iPads, second-hand iPads, see what prices they were selling them for, because I need an iPad eventually for the boat. Quite expensive. So anyway, I get down towards McDonald's, and there's this other I think it's called CEX, here it is, CEX. WeBuy.com, CEX. Shop there. And I went in there and thought, there's one thing I sometimes come in the shop for if I want to buy second-hand hard disk drives. And it's funny because my hard disk drive, I think it's about 100 megabytes. It's absolutely chock-a-block with videos, and I started to delete videos, my YouTube videos, and I'm like, well, I could just delete them because they're on YouTube, but maybe I need to keep them anyway. Just the final videos, not all the parts I used to make them. Just the final videos, I really need to keep them on my computer, but I haven't got any space left. I kept having to delete everything before I could make another video. And so I had a look in the rack there, and there is quite a nice hard disk drive. It's a super thin Western Digital hard disk drive, and for £8, you can't really go wrong for that, can you? So 500 gigabytes, that would be perfect for what I need. And so anyway, today even comes with a guarantee. And so today I plugged it in, I brought it home and I plugged it into my cable, special cable, and I went to plug it into my ThinkPad W500, which I thought had everything. But my 410, I got this from my 410, has a SCSI plug on it. And this cable needs a SCSI plug. So I thought it was a matter of just plugging this into my computer and copying off all my videos. But it's not quite that easy, so I'm going to have to go through some other format first. I don't know what. I have got hard disk drives in the house, but they've all got something on them and they've all been keynoted for some special function that's mostly obsolete, but they've still got data on them, and I don't want to interfere with the systems that I put in place some years ago. So this was the easiest way just to get a new one. So that system didn't actually work yet, but it will do. Eventually I would like to perhaps put this disc inside. Actually, the other way of doing it is to actually take that disc out with all the videos on and put this disc in its place. So that's probably what I'll do. Now, okay, so we'll leave it at that for the time being. Yeah, so I got my disk drive, so that was obviously my purpose of coming to town, I thought. So I walked back to the bus stop. I went to have a look, see when the bus comes, and the bus is hours away, 2 hours away, and so I thought, well, what do I do? I'll go into, what's it called? I can't remember. Witherspoons. The devil has no name. It's a drinking place, but you can get a cup of coffee in there, an everlasting cup of coffee for £1. And so it's pretty good value. You've got good seats in there, and often you can meet some interesting people having cups of coffee for £1. And so I thought, well, I'll take my shopping over there, and I'll have a cup of coffee, and I'll wait. So I had a cup of coffee, and then towards the end of my sojourn there, I'd noticed this guy sitting opposite me, and yeah, lots of interested people there, but he looked like we almost bumped into each other. I was waiting to go, and he was blocking my way. Now, I often miss this. It's a sign. You know, this doesn't happen to you unless maybe you're coming to meet. When you're coming to meet somebody, it means that you're going to meet this person. So anyway, and he turned around and said, I didn't want to move in case I bumped into you and you didn't see me, because he had his back to me. And this started the conversation, and it turns out he's a drummer. He's got electronic drums, and that's what he likes to do. And I've been thinking about buying my own electronic drums, because I can't do any more records without drums on them. And you know, I thought about getting electronic drums, but they're quite expensive. Not that expensive, but you know, it's like half a year's worth of spending for me if it's at £500 or £600. So, and if I put them here, I'm going to be banging on them, and people are going to be hearing me. You know, and they're not completely silent. I'm going to be self-conscious about it. You know, so I hadn't bothered about getting any drums. And I thought, well, perhaps we could do something together. Perhaps he could do some drum tracks and I could do some bass tracks, and then build the songs up from there. And he seemed to be quite interested in this. And anyway, he gave me this book, you see, and we were just talking because he makes this book. He's also an artist type too, like me. This is Hay and Wide Bench Life. And he turned to this page and he pointed his finger at it. There's loads of pages in there with all sorts of stuff in it, and if I can find it, here. And he pointed saying, Doctor Who. That's interesting. Look at this. This is a book that I picked up at the beginning of my trip, Doctor Who. So you know, it's kind of like impossible. You never come across Doctor Who. You know, I wear a Doctor Who scarf, which I never got myself. Somebody gave me a Doctor Who scarf. I didn't ask for it, or I didn't choose it myself. And I do have here, I do have a Doctor Who pointing device too. so I have an association with Doctor Who. So yeah, it was all good signs. And tonight I sent him an email because he gave his contact details in here with some links to some of the work that I've done in the past, which, you know, I'm not that happy with. I'm not that happy with the work that I did in the past, but I'd like to think that I could do something better next time. And I was working towards, I had some compositions done in Germany, but I needed a drummer, and I went to a recording place and I said, you know, is there any way I can rent a space and have a find some interesting young drummer who wants to play drums and make a recording. So I don't mind paying a bit, you know, I'm thinking like £20 or something like that. And they come back to me with some, like, it took ages, and then they send me a letter saying, oh, they could do it for €1,000. So, these guys are insane, you know, it's insane. And so that was the end of that, really. I never continued. And that's the last, I never recorded since then, because I had some ideas that I knew that I needed to do bass and drums next. I need to get a good tight bass and drum sound to play over, so that the music could become stronger and tighter, really. So that's it. So it's quite interesting. Maybe nothing will come of it, or maybe something will. I hope something will come of it because of these good signs of the books, the Doctor Who, and all that kind of thing. And he said he didn't want to just play the blues, but you know, the stuff the blues that I play is quite different to, much more creative than most blues musicians. So I'm hoping that he doesn't mind that. And I did ask him if he liked Van Morrison, and he did like Van Morrison. So, you know, I think if you like Van Morrison, because Van Morrison's very simple music, repetitive, and you know, you don't want something too complicated, maybe too in your brain. It's difficult to, you want an easy sequence that you can hear your way through, and so on. I'm not averse to having, you know, more complex tracks, and I have made some more complicated tracks in my time. So I don't know what will come out of this, but I'm hoping that maybe it can be an internet kind of collaboration where we can transfer files around, you know. It's also possible, he's only in Hereford, I'm over here, it's also possible to get together and just lay down some bass and drum tracks, and then I could bring them back here and finish them off, you know. We'll see what happens. But yeah, it's a good thing. So, and then the bus, it's interesting because most of the buses that you catch to come back to Bromyard take you to the other end of town, and you've got to walk for miles carrying, you know, big shopping bags and that. I had 2 heavy bags, and I got on the bus, and it turns out the bus is the one that goes right past near where I live. There's not that many of those, there's not as many as the other ones. And so that was really fortunate. And it happened to me last time. Last time I did the same thing. I just wandered off at some time and got some shopping, and when I came back I had the right bus just by chance. And so, you know, it's good fortune that. That's what you call good fortune. And good fortune happens if you're a good person, you know. If your motives, to be a good person, you just have to have the right motives. Good means in tune with nature. And so you're doing what you feel like doing, what you feel good about. And you're not trying to get anywhere by scheming, by premeditating, by the second and the third thought, yeah. So that's the idea. Anyway, he also gave me his book with his contact details in, and he also gave me it's his brother-in-law's record to listen to. And so I'm going to have a listen to this now, and yeah, I'm just recording this just to see what happens, because if we do make some music, and it's funny because I'd only just put that piece of me playing the guitar, just a short improvised few minutes of music, not even, probably only a minute, less than a minute, and I was able to show that to him in Witherspoons, so he had an immediate sort of idea what it was that I was doing. Maybe that's the only reason I put that video up, just so that I had the opportunity to show him, because it was only one day and the next day, and then I showed him this video. I had no reason to put that video up, I just did it. And when I start, every record that I start has a blues on it. It's normally I call them 2012 blues, 2013 blues, 2014 blues, 2015 blues. It's the names of the blues. And I record a blues track. I like to make it a kind of a different blues to the last blues I did. And so this might have been the start of it. I did this blues track. I don't make blues albums. It's not all blues. It's not mostly not blues. But I do normally make a specifically blues track because my mentor, if you like, the person who taught me how to play is Lightning Hopkins. Lightning Hopkins, and that's why I took the name Lightning Papa Abraham for my bardic name. That's a bard's name of a bard. When you become a bard, you know, like you've got bards and ovates and druids and stuff like that. When you become a bard, then you normally take a name, and you know, this name can evolve in time. And so I used to be, it was Lightning Abe, and then it became Lightning Papa Abraham in the end, yeah. So, and I was studying him, and I even had a meeting. I woke up in the middle of the night, and not like you have a dream, but you can see it with your eyes open. This is, they call it an hallucination. It's not an hallucination, it's just like a waking dream. And I saw a man like Lightning Hopkins in my room, and he was standing there in front of me with a smile on his face. And it was at this time that I took the name Lightning Abe. So it was kind of like he's on your shoulder, you know. A lot of musicians say this, that you can go down on your knees, put your head on the ground and say, you know, Jimi Hendrix, you know, help me, please help me. And that you can invoke the spirits of the ancestors, and they help you to do your music. And so, you know, it's not me, it's many other people, famous blues people, you know. It's called Going to the Crossroads. And they tell a story of selling your soul to the devil, but it's not that at all, not selling your soul to the devil. It's quite the opposite. It's giving your spirit to nature, saying, nature, please use me. I want to become a vessel for creative activity and help the world. That's all it is, really. And so, looking here, see, Arthur Hyde. Change songs, songs of change is what I do. Pippery Hill, I don't know what that is. The Heights of Heaven, Taoism, you see, Taoism. And Taoism, Tao means the way, and the way of nature is what it is. And so you know. So it's good signs here that we have another man. Look, he plays nylon string guitar too. We have another man who may well have similar, be playing for heaven or nature, whatever you want to call it. At the Heights of Heaven.